Yo, what's up? This is Sleet. Welcome to another video on my channel. Today I'm talking about the Champions League semi-final match between Bayern Munich and Olympique Lyonnais. Before I get into things, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like or a comment. All of those really mean a lot. And subscribe if you want to see more football or soccer related videos. Going into the game today, I thought that Olympique Lyonnais had very little chance. I thought Bayern were going to be too much for them. And while that did end up being the case today, things could have been different. If Lyon had taken a couple of chances that they had early on, the scoreline could have been different and the whole complexion of the game might have been different. It kind of reminded me of when Bayern played Barcelona. They played this really high line, and Barcelona did end up scoring 2 goals, and they probably could have had a lot more had it not been for Bayern being so dominant in the midfield. And similarly today, Bayern's defense were very suspect. Positionally, they're very high up the field. Every person seems like they can be beaten, or at least gotten around. And if some Lyon players, namely Toko-Ekambi and Memphis Depay, if they had finished their chances, Lyon could have gone in front and Bayern would have been struggling to get back into the game. Opening couple of minutes, a straight pass from a Bayern player gave it right back to Lyon, and a pass right through the middle of the 2 center backs put Memphis in on goal. Personally, I think Memphis should have done a lot better in this moment. He really struggled to kind of get the ball out from his feet and to get it in, into his stride, and by the time he had his head raised, Neuer had come out and had put him off basically. But I do want to say that I think Manuel Neuer did very, very well in this situation. What Neuer did very well was he noticed that Depay had his head down, and while he was already far off his line, he came in farther out. When Memphis had raised his head, Neuer was within a couple of meters, and that really put Depay off. Depay went to go run around him, and the shot was bad. And I think he could have been even more composed, but the reason he was panicking so much was because Neuer had come so far out. Around 10 minutes later, Toko-Ekambi had a very good chance to put Lyon in front. He did really well in terms of movement. He took a step towards the Lyon player who was in possession, and that brought Alphonso Davies with him. And then even though Alphonso Davies is rapid and very fast, because he had wrong-footed him with that movement, when he ran in behind, he was able to receive the ball and get well ahead of Davies. From there, Toko-Ekambi, he cut in very well on his left foot, and he really should have finished it. He hit the post, and it just shows how clinical you have to be in these Champions League games. This is a really important game. The players on the other team have such quality that if you make mistakes, they will punish you. And because he didn't end up finishing that, about a minute later, Bayern went down the other end and scored. I'm going to say now, I don't dislike Lyon as a club at all. I think they're really good in producing talent, and I am a big fan of several of their players, namely Houssam Aouar, and I really like Memphis Depay, or I've liked his career, and I think he's a good player. But after the City-Lyon game, I am a City fan, and there's just a lot of players from Lyon who I thought were very dirty or not very sportsmanlike, and because of that I ended up disliking parts of your defense a lot. I was particularly frustrated with one Lyon player after the City game, and that was Maxwell Cornet, and it was really nice for me watching the game today just to see him be at fault for both of the first 2 goals that Lyon conceded. And I don't have anything against Lyon, I just really dislike him now as a player, and I was glad to see him make mistakes. So Bayern's first goal came right after Lyon had their chance. They knocked the ball down the field, and because Cornet was so far up, this is a problem that City had. The center backs are isolated when you play a 3 or 5 at the back, and your wing backs don't know where they should be positioned. So here Maxwell Cornet was about 10 yards in front of Gnabry, and when the ball went over, if you watch the replays, you'll see that Cornet put his hand up thinking that Gnabry was offside, but obviously he wasn't because there was 3 center backs behind him. And because of that, he was so far out of position. Gnabry had space, but just having space isn't enough if you don't know what to do with it. And holy God, Serge Gnabry's touch here was fantastic. On his right foot, he took the ball in, and then he started to cut in on his left. And Gnabry isn't left-footed as far as I'm aware. And he was able to dribble past another couple. I think Guimaraes got a shoulder in, and Gnabry showed his strength and balance. He was able to take that pressure while he was sprinting and then just leather it into the top corner. He didn't even look at the goal, which I noticed. He was just looking down at the ball, and he knew where everything was. He was very, very fast. He was very, very strong, and he put it right into the top corner. Very clinical. It was just a great goal for Gnabry, and to think that Arsenal let him go for so cheap, and a couple of years ago, I think it was 5 years ago, Tony Pulis was saying he wasn't good enough for West Brom. To see where his career's gone, now scoring screamers in the Champions League semi-final, is just incredible, and I do like Gnabry. I think he's very dangerous, and he was very fun to watch in the game today. Bayern Munich's second goal came again from a Maxwell Cornet mistake. there was another ball that came over the top towards him, and he brought it down, but he wasn't quick enough getting rid of it, and Gnabry just poked it away from him and went running with it. As Gnabry began to like cut across the field again, I think that Jason Denayer didn't defend this very well. Instead of staying in line when he saw that there was a threat, he kept dropping off, and as he was dropping off, he was leaving a lot of space in behind, and because he was doing that, he was keeping Perisic on side. So when Gnabry got across, he was able to play it through to Perisic, who then crossed it to Lewandowski. I understand why Denayer was dropping off. He was trying to get in line to block the cross, but it probably would have been safer to play the offside trap. And even though he was in line of where the ball was crossed, he swung his foot at it. I don't know why he swung his foot, because it was about to hit his right foot, and he swung to swing at the ball, and it went through his legs and went to Lewandowski. And this is a chance that you'd fully expect Lewandowski to finish, but he completely fluffed it. He's kind of falling over it, and despite him mishitting it, it still went on target, and it was a really good save, I thought, from Anthony Lopez, but he couldn't really get rid of it. He just pushed it out, and Gnabry did very well to follow the danger. He passed out, and then he went into the center and made his run, and he was rewarded for it. He had an easy tap-in, and he got a second goal of the game. After this, I really admire Lyon going for it. They knew that they needed to score, and in the second half they came out, and I'm not sure if they made substitutions right away, but they were changing the way they played. They weren't being as passive. They were really trying to get forward and cause Bayern issues. Although they didn't score, I thought they were doing very well in terms of trying to get forward, and I thought namely Aouar was incredible in terms of beating people and getting through the lines, and I just felt like he didn't have much help in the midfield. I thought that Kakare and Guimaraes were kind of out of the game. I think Thiago Mendes came on. Thiago Mendes was also not very involved. But Aouar, despite having the limited help from his teammates, was creating chances. At one point, I remember Aouar pressing more forward, and he got onto the left wing, and it was a good cross over to Toko-Ekambi. It was another good save from Neuer. He did well to come off his line again, and he blocked it. He made himself big, and the shot was right at him, kind of, but that's only because he was so lively and off of his line. Even though they continued to press, I don't remember many good chances for Lyon after that. They weren't doing too much, and while I did admire their fight and their desire to try and get back into the game, just player-wise, didn't have any kind of ability to match Bayern. I thought Aouar was the only player that looked up to the quality of the Bayern players, and a lot of the other Lyon players weren't really in the game. The third Bayern Munich goal came near the end, and it was a fairly decent finish, but again, I think it just showed how poor some of the defenders were for Lyon. I said this in the Man City-Lyon match reaction, that I thought that Marcelo and players like that, or Dubois and Marcal, were very static and they weren't very fast, and I think it was purely down to City playing poorly in that game that City didn't score more goals than they did. I thought those Lyon defenders could be gotten at, and Bayern Munich showed that today. That it was a free kick from Kimmich, and it was a good delivery, but Marcelo completely fell asleep. He knew Lewandowski was behind him, and for whatever reason, when the ball came in, he took his eye away from Lewandowski, and because he wasn't looking at Lewandowski, he then had to look where he was moving to, and he took his eye off the ball, completely missed it. Lewandowski jumped about a foot higher than him and put it in. That was just a very good finish and goal. With Bayern Munich confirmed for the final now, I'm excited to see how they'll face PSG. Bayern, I think, are probably going to be most people's favorites, and I think overall they do have a better team, but they can easily be scored against. I don't think Lyon did as well as they could have done today. For the chances that Lyon had today, they really should have scored, and I think if you look at Bayern's last game as well, they could have conceded a lot more against Barcelona than they did. Both times it was just poor finishing or poor chance creation, but Bayern's line is so high that if they don't change things, Neymar, Di Maria, and Mbappe are going to score a lot of goals. And that's why I'm excited for the Champions League final. I can see both teams scoring a lot, and that's just going to be exciting to watch. I don't really support either team. I'd probably prefer if Bayern won it because I don't want PSG to have a Champions League before City do. But at the end of the day, I don't care too much. I'm a fan of Neymar. I like watching him. I also enjoy watching a lot of the Bayern players, especially players like Alaba. And overall, I'm just really excited for that game. I might make a match preview for that. I'm not sure yet. But as of right now, I think I edge towards Bayern slightly. I think that Bayern have a little too many attacking players and too much quality overall in their team. But PSG can cause them issues, and PSG are fully capable of winning that game. Okay, that's it for today. If you watched all the way through, I really appreciate it. Like I said at the start, leave a like, comment, all of that means a lot. Subscribe for more content like this. I'll be making more videos related to soccer or football. This has been Sleet. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.